Shit, I love it. It's genius. All right. We are live. 5 seconds deep. 6 seconds. These mics are hot. What's up,
Yo.
folks? Something a little different going on today. As you would notice, I am not Rob, and I have my good brother here, Chris O here, filling in. Rob had something come up. I think he had a last minute dance competition. He had to go, serve some people. I don't know if we can watch that movie anymore. My guy Marcus Houston, I think he got canceled. But what's up, Chris O? Thanks for filling in.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome everybody to Hanging with the Hobros.
Good shot.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, shoot.
You got to get your face in the picture.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, sorry folks. We're just gonna do all this like little work before everything starts. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Lewis. No Rob. Sorry, guys. I think
sorry everybody. You're
Scott,
stuck.
It's been a while since Scott been here, and Scott shows up and Rob's not here. So apologies, folks. Maybe he'll. We do want to see Rob dancing right now. He knows all the NSYNC dances, the B44. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But thank you, everybody. It is Monday night. It is, what is it? We're in May. Holy crap. It's May 8th, 2023. You're hanging out with the Hobros. We're going to talk a little bit about random entertainment news. Very shoddily put together because we don't have Rob here being professional. And then we're going to talk about Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat or All You Need Is Kill or Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, whatever you want to call this damn movie starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. We're going to talk about that. So thank you, everybody, for giving us your Monday night, and hopefully you'll have some fun and some laughs with us. So welcome, Chris Ho. Should we dive into the news, Chris Ho? I got some random stuff. I don't know if you pulled anything box office wise or no. Okay. What we started to do. I already forgot the format. We like to ask what's going on with everybody's weekend. So if you guys got to check out anything over the course of the weekend. Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Chris, I'll give you a second to think of what you got up to because it's been a while since we got to chat. I know you were busy and you were out of town for a week or so. But I got to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I know you really wanted to go see it. So hopefully you do want to go see it later on. I'm sure a couple people in the comments saw it. So no spoilers, folks. Let us know if you were very happy with the result of Guardians 3. Chris, I will tell you, I was pretty pleased with it. I'm very happy with the ending. I'm glad that we have these 3 movies, all directed by James Gunn, all under the same roof. I think it's going to be a nice set piece. I've already started to rewatch number 1. Let me ask you a little bit. Were you hyped to see 3? Like, you haven't seen it, obviously, but are you excited to see this? There's a lot of Marvel stuff that's come out.
Yeah,
I know you skipped a lot of them in theaters, right? Maybe watched on digital, but
Guardians 3. I haven't had a chance to see Ant-Man yet, but that's the only one I haven't seen yet. I think I was more like the general population, kind of maybe down on superhero movies after this year. All the releases of the past like maybe 6 months or so have been down, and then it's very refreshing to hear that this is a third one of usually I think third of trilogies are usually kind of a letdown, but this one I hear is great, and I'm happy to hear that and can't wait to go see it.
Yeah. I think you'll be happy. I would go see it again if I could squeeze in the time. If so, we'll have to talk. Maybe we'll go see it again. I haven't seen something twice in theaters since I don't know when the hell Ninja Turtles 1. I don't know. I don't know if you remember, Chris. We saw that at least twice in theaters.
Yeah, Infinity War I saw twice. I think.
Oh, really?
I saw it with you guys, and then I went and saw it with my fiance afterwards. So.
Oh yeah. Infinity War. I think we went to a theater, and there were some kids, and they kept going in and out. That kind of sucked.
Yeah, we were at the good old Rainbow Cinemas next to the door, and people kept leaving and coming in. And I was like,
it was just normally that theater I think is really good, but that door was like, folks, we're talking about. I think it's now called Imagine Cinemas. It's actually a really nice place. They got these really comfy chairs, footrests for you, and it's kind of a little bit old school. The screen's not as big, but the door was like right there. You normally have a hallway that leads to a door that leads to another door, and it was just unfortunate. There was a family that just
kept leaving, coming, going,
but they kept having to go in and out for some reason. I don't know if it was washroom breaks or whatever, but that was unfortunate. It looks like a lot of people in the comments said they loved Guardians 3, very pleased with it.
All right, great to hear.
Fraser, I know Fraser and Lewis saw it for sure. They dropped by the shop before they went to go see it. I know I saw Scott post a picture online. Lots of great music. I've been jamming the playlist recently on my Spotify. So shout outs to James Gunn. I think he did it. And that entire cast, crew, everyone that worked on it, they're sharing a lot of behind the scenes stuff now. So watch out for spoilers.
Yeah.
Chris Ho, did you get a chance to check anything else out that wasn't Guardians related, I guess?
This past weekend, not really. I was, like you said, I was on vacation this past week. I was on a boat on the Atlantic Ocean on a cruise ship, so not much access to anything. But I've been catching up on things. I guess Succession. I'm really into that show, and I'm trying to catch up on that. I'm one episode behind, and that's great. That's a great show. That's really the only thing I've been up to date on, unfortunately.
Does it live up to the hype? Because people are like toting it as this amazing show. I think I only watched first season. And I did enjoy it what I saw.
I feel like it there's a huge hype for it. For me, I was the previous season, I kind of felt like they were kind of doing the same things over and over again. And then this season, I guess maybe because it's the last season, they do something, I won't spoil it, in the third episode that is crazy. And it just kicks off the whole show. And this is kind of like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for 3 seasons. They're just kicking it off right away in the season. And now it's just full throttle and to me, very exciting. Like corporate Game of Thrones style stuff.
That's the corporate Game of Thrones. Who would have thought that would have been exciting? Like the title, Succession. You're like, what? It is.
The buyout of a multi-billion-dollar company. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting or so funny.
All this corporate stuff. They're on the helicopters, constantly phone calls. Talks about staff and stock and market meetings and all that kind of stuff. And everybody's loving it. I wonder what people in that world feel about it. If they're like, they're glorifying all this. Like it's every day it's like 8 hours of signing documents or whatever.
True.
So we'll see how that goes. Did you play the new Star Wars game at all? I know Rob and Andre like tanked that thing like crazy.
Yeah, no, I want to get it. I'm waiting maybe for some sort of sale. I'm kind of behind. I just got a PS5 like a month ago, so I'm just catching up on games. Like I did Miles Morales Spider-Man, and I'm like doing all the games that came out 2 years ago now. And then eventually, yes, I will get to the Star Wars game because I did play the first one, really enjoyed it. I found, maybe I'm not that good, but I found it very difficult. It took me a couple tries to beat every boss, like some almost controller tosses and things like that. Very, I guess the Dark Souls style of gameplay. I'm not really used to playing it, but I did love it. So I will definitely play the second one.
Some of those games are tough. I did pick up to play with Izzy. I picked up Ghouls and Goblins, the new edition on Switch.
Okay.
And that game, you know what that game is notorious for, right? Being freaking hard. And I didn't think of this, but all I saw was it has a co-op mode, and my daughter gets to be this little ghost guy and help me out. And folks, this game is freaking hard. These bosses are kicking my ass, and I've got it turned down to the easiest setting. So if anyone's got tips, if anyone's checked that game out, I was like, oh, it's 50% off. Let me get it. Oh, co-op mode. Great. Izzy can play with me. Oh my God. Never regretted that. Never regretted that more. But I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to get my money's worth out of that game.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are mentioning D&D. Now I know you saw that in theaters, and I can't.
Okay.
That's next on my list. I do really want to see that. I love.
Let's jump to talking about new on digital. So D&D, I think, does hit digital or has already hit digital. I think it's maybe now. I don't know. I can double check that. You guys in the comments, let me know. D&D, I did see it in theaters. I'm surprised you didn't see it yet, but maybe you were waiting for the digital. But Chris Pine he just delivers. I don't think I've ever watched a movie.
Is Chris Pine underrated? You got Hemsworth, you got Evans, you big marquee guys, but Chris Pine, is he an underrated Chris?
There's so many Chris's in the mix, dude. What the hell is going on here? But I'm gonna say no. I think he's right where he is. He should be. Mm-hmm. You don't go and see a movie just specifically because you hear Chris Pine, but when Chris Pine's in it, you kind of know he's going to deliver. So you get you get a solid performance.
I feel like he's underrated. I like him in pretty much everything he's been in. So
Wonder Woman 84, I think, is that
he was the only good thing in that movie.
But it's on his record. So when you look at his filmography, you're gonna see Wonder Woman 84 on there, and you're gonna get mad. So that's the splotch. True. Okay, maybe if you strike that from the record, I think you are right that he is 100%. He delivers pretty much. I feel like he's got a great record unless you travel way back into his career. I think he did some rom-coms that maybe were not super great.
Hasn't been in a Marvel or a DC movie though, right? Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, that's the X factor he needs to hit. You guys can correct us if we're wrong. But yeah.
Oh, sorry. We just mentioned a DC movie. I'm sorry.
But it's the worst thing on his record.
Okay. Hasn't been in a Marvel movie. That maybe there's the.
But he is good in Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah.
So there's that,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah.
So I guess So maybe he needs to cross over to the Marvel side to get some respect. But yeah, Scott's mentioning that D&D is on Paramount Plus or whatever the Paramount service is called in the US. I'm sure it is available, or it's going to be available very soon. I highly recommend it. I think you're going to have a blast, Chris. If Rob was here, he skipped it in theaters, and me and Stu were trying to get him to see it. I think he's actually going to have a blast with it. It's just a really fun movie, and I think I saw Lewis and Fraser and Steve all said it was a fun movie. I don't know if Scott saw it. Scott, I think you might have said that you didn't see it yet. Oh yeah, he said he still needs to see it. I think you're going to have a fun time, Scott, because I know you've got a little bit of D&D in your past. But also dropping on digital, I don't know if it's soon or now, Air, the story of the Air Jordans. Chris, are you hyped for this?
Yes, of course. If I knew you were going to mention it, I would have brought
I was like, I asked this to Rob last time. I'm like, do you own a pair of Jordans? I don't think I've ever owned a pair of Jordans.
Really? Okay.
But how many Jordans do you own?
Your Christmas list?
No, don't. I've been relegated to dad shoe territory. So I really like a boot with a little bit of a heel.
All right.
So yeah, don't give me no Jordans. It's not worth your money. Keep your Jordans for yourself. But since you do own a pair of Jordans, does it live up to the hype? Do you really put them on and you're like, yeah, I'm wearing Jordans?
Well, you're wearing them. It's technology from the 80s on your feet, so it's like you're walking on kind of concrete floor, but it's not for comfort. It is for
I can't do that now.
It is for style.
My feet are all busted up. So it's all fashion. It's purely fashion. Because when I do see someone wearing them, you notice it. It's a very distinct look, especially those kind of vintagey ones.
Air Jordan 1s, the classic. Well, that's my favorite Air Jordan 1. But yeah, I have maybe 5 Air Jordan 1s scattered about my house. So
all right, well, we'll see. We'll get it. We'll do a shoe head episode one time.
You'll need to get Pat and Matt on.
Yeah. I know Pat owns a bunch of Jordans, and I always make fun of him for it. But it's cool. I think it's cool. I'm beyond that. All the shoes I wear get trashed within a couple months, so I can't invest in a nice shoe. Maybe one day. But let's jump. I guess we talked about new on digital. We talked about the box office. So let's get into upcoming attractions then. Since Steve already mentioned it here, Gran Turismo, new movie coming out. I did not think that this movie was going to be a thing that could happen. I'm like, really, Gran Turismo? You're going to make a movie? But it's a movie about a kid who plays the Gran Turismo video game.
Yeah, very meta.
And then becomes a race car driver. Did you watch the trailer at all?
I usually stay up to that trailers. That one I missed. I was on the boat when it came out. But like I said, very meta premise and kind of like Wizard vibes. Remember that old school movie Wizard where he plays in the Mario tournament and becomes a star?
With the power glove?
Oh, yeah, like the power glove. And then he finds the secret entrance in Mario, having never played it before. That was kind of cool. And yeah, it has that kind of vibe and could be a good video game movie, I think. Are we on a streak of decent video game movies right now?
It could be. Like maybe its only competition really is, I guess, Need for Speed. Can it beat the Need for Speed movie? Not hard.
With Jesse Pinkman in it. That one?
Yeah. I don't mind it. I didn't mind that movie. But that movie also heavily sponsored, featuring like a Mustang and all this kind of stuff. So I wonder if this Gran Turismo movie is going to be as sponsored looking. You know what I mean? Like all the cars are going to be all official. But I think it is going to sell. It's going to sell a lot of sim setups. So like the wheel with all the monitors and stuff. I think people might get into it there, and you might see an uptick in competitive like Gran Turismo or racing game stuff. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if you remember.
They got to offer the prize of actual racing.
Yeah. I don't know if people actually want to race though. That seems dangerous, and you actually have to like be in really good shape and be able to like put your body through that. But it is the best way to play a racing game, Chris. I don't know if you remember. I used to have the wheel and the projector in our basement, and I used to play that stupid game. And I haven't played it since I don't have the wheel anymore. It's not the same thing.
Cruising USA. We played that in the arcade at the convenience store down the street. We played that like crazy. Cruising USA, where you would just downshift, upshift, and your car would go so much faster.
You would basically just ram the other cars out of the way. It's completely unplayable. If anyone has a copy or has dusted it off recently, I know Switch has got, you can play the vintage games and stuff.
Oh,
it's a really bad game.
The whole setup,
Yeah. you need the half cockpit of a car.
Yeah.
But okay, so Gran Turismo, not super duper hype. I don't know if I'm gonna rush out to see it in theaters unless it gets really like high praise. But let's talk about some other coming attractions then. Since Rob's not here, let's talk a little bit about Flash hype. I'm sure you watched the Flash trailer,
yes,
right?
With that Michael thing I Keaton. Watched. Yeah.
Since we haven't heard from you yet, Chris, how do you feel about this movie coming up, The Flash? Like
the movie and the trailer and the movie. I'm so hyped. This looks awesome. We put aside the controversy, just speaking as a movie, and it's something I want to see. It looks amazing to me. And you got the little Michael Keaton Easter eggs, or not Easter eggs, but the vintage Batman suits and the technology, and it really brings you back. And that, some people, that was their favorite Batman. So it's like bringing that world into the modern era.
The internet has exploded with people like, this is the best Batman. Like the bringing back of your 89 Batman defeats Christian Bale, it defeats Ben Affleck, it defeats like everybody. It just wins the internet. I really hope he's in the movie for more than 5 minutes though. That would be the ultimate.
Keaton, it feels like Keaton is a big selling point of the movie. They're really pushing him. They do have Ben Affleck in the trailer, maybe for a second. I think he'll probably just appear at the beginning and then be gone with him, because I don't think a lot of people liked him. I didn't mind him, but it just sucks that they're building on this universe that's essentially going to be extinct, and it's kind of probably like the I guess there's still Aquaman 2 to come out, but like this is kind of like the last hurrah for this Snyderverse type of characters and things like that. So it's kind of a shame, but
I think
as a standalone movie, it's going to be. It looks pretty awesome to me.
Yeah, I think we'll see if if it's gangbusters. Then I think they are going to have to fold it in somehow, because there is talk that Warner Brothers or whoever is okay with Ezra Miller and a bunch of these other cast members coming back.
If anyone is familiar with Flashpoint or the premise, obviously that's the premise, but it's just a matter of, that's a good reset button, So maybe they can fold in what they like and, keep what's going around. Just keep Peacemaker alive, though. I want to see a season 2 of Peacemaker, please.
I think season 2 of Peacemaker is happening. It's just not going to be part of any of this new continuity stuff. They're just going to keep it as a separate TV show entity, which is fine. Remember the day when movies weren't always all tied together? Remember when you could just see a movie and not wonder how it's going to affect other movies? Like not
patiently, or not patiently, like eagerly wait for Captain America to show up at the end or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe the superhero movies have to cross that point so that people don't always talk about the superhero fatigue. And they did this wrong, they did that wrong, and they can have multiple versions for everybody. But okay, let's go to the next thing. How about Dune 2? Did anyone watch the Dune 2 trailer?
I watched it. Yep.
Yeah. All right, you saw Dune 1.
I was a fan of Dune 1. I just like the story building. I know maybe there's a lot of people who might think it was kind of drawn out, and maybe it looked beautiful but didn't really have much action. This one, I don't know why. Maybe it's a misdirect, but it looks like it has tons of action. He's riding the sand.
It looks like as a second act
or whatever.
They're gonna do a lot of action. So I know a bunch of people in the comments. I know Scott, not a fan of Dune, and Lewis still hasn't watched the first one, but the second one's around the corner. So I think he waited out long enough that it's gonna be, you'll be able to see 1 and 2. But I like you, like we normally like the Hollywood exploding blockbuster type movies, and Dune was more of a measured.
Scott mentions the pace. I found the pace problematic in the first one.
I actually like it because I feel like I need to sit back for a second and enjoy. Rob would say the cinematography and all these aspect ratios and all these like fancy.
It looked. Obviously, it looked beautiful. That director. Canadian director. I don't want to try to pronounce his name, but he always makes beautiful looking movies. If you're a big cinematography guy, you love the cinematography of that movie. But I don't know. I found like they introduced all these cool characters. I know some of them might still be alive, but then they ended up just like axing half of them or majority of them, and it's like, okay, thanks for introducing these cool characters, this cool technology, and then just like all of them.
Well, I was worried that there was going to be a bigger time jump between the first and the second one, and I thought everyone was going to be almost.
Looks like it picks up right after.
It looks like it's instantly after. So I don't know how that's going to work. But So shout outs to the original movie. Scott's mentioned the original movie. Here we go. Hold on, I just want to touch in with Eric here. Got done with Guardians 3. Mofo was cutting onions next to me. I was tearing up. No, yeah, that was not cutting onions getting cut up, man. That is James Gunn knowing how to break your heart. So get ready, Chris. Some Pixar level sadness happening in that movie, or just getting the feels out. So we'll get to that. All right, we'll move on from Dune.
Those pesky movie theaters always piping in like onions.
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
The popcorn and everything that comes from containers. But they got fresh onions in there, and they got employees cutting them up and venting them in.
Oh yeah, that cafeteria, the food court always has lots of onions. It must be from them. Like that. In Fast and Furious, when the last scene with Paul Walker, they must have been cutting tons of onions. Oh man, yeah, for sure. They turned on the vent on super high. All the guys in the theater are like, oh my eye. Yeah. Oh man, I remember during the pandemic when we first started going back to theaters, I saw a bunch of what's it called, Uber Eats, picking up food from the theaters. And I'm like, geez, what kind of situation is this where you're ordering your dinner from the movie theater restaurant? You want those hot dogs?
But someone was telling me you don't know. You just see the restaurant name. You don't know it's a mini restaurant inside of the movie theater. So hopefully they had good meals. But
can you remember
that's the end of like Fast and the Furious.
Do you remember the last movie you cried at, John? Do you remember?
This Guardians movie, dude.
Guardians? You cried? Okay,
100%.
I'll get the tissues ready for me.
Yeah. Even Guardians 2. I went back and rewatched Guardians 2. Spoiler alert: the whole Yondu sacrifice at the end. That's a really sad moment. Yeah. So if you haven't watched that, watch that. And then that Paul Walker definitely got you teared up. And there's every movie.
I think for me it gets me every time. The ending, I've watched it a couple times. The ending of Coco. You ever watch that movie?
Oh yeah. Coco's super sad.
When he plays the song for the grandma, I'm like, oh man, crazy. I'll admit it. Yeah.
I know those
Pixar, man. What the heck?
Pixar. Yeah, the Pixar. Even Soul. Soul gets me sad too.
Really?
Yeah. Like those movies. And some movies you overthink, right? They're made for kids, and something happens, and you're just supposed to sweep it under the rug, and then you start thinking about it. You're like, oh my god! So you turn it into a moment. But anyways, all right, Chris. Let me throw out some more get hype things at you. Pedro Pascal joining Gladiator 2. Does this get you excited for Gladiator 2?
Pedro Pascal. Everyone's what do they call him? The internet daddy right now. Like everybody's loving Pedro Pascal. You can't do no wrong. So. Put him in everything. It's fine. Even his voice. We'll take it.
Yeah. Just give him the double voice in there.
He doesn't need to show up on set. Just do a voice. It's fine.
Yeah. But like Chris Pine, he's got one mark on his record, which is Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, yeah. Oh no.
That's taken all these legends
How
down.
many people has that movie taken down?
Yeah, you got to strike that from the record for them somehow. Something. But but he's like you said, he's a solid performer. Looks like he puts his heart and soul into everything. What's it called? That Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Hilarious, yeah.
He's amazing in it.
So good.
And he might not have even been acting. He might have just been like fanboying out at Nicolas Cage. And they just captured it on camera. And then they're like, here we go, Pedro. You're good.
Why do we need Fraser? Why do we need a Gladiator 2? Who's asking for these? There's so many.
Are you not entertained?
There's so many 10 years later sequels that are not asked for. So many, like Independence Day. Do we need a second Independence Day? The only exception, I guess, is Top Gun. Top Gun was amazing. I guess if you count Ghostbusters Afterlife, that was pretty good. But everything else has been kind of a miss in that territory. 10 years, waiting 10 years to do a sequel.
Yeah, I wonder if it got greenlit after Maverick, just blew up the box office.
Yeah.
And they did that right, but they definitely put the effort in. So if you're gonna do it and not put the effort in, it's gonna be questionable.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise not going to do a sequel unless you pitch him all that stuff that they did in Maverick, like real jet planes and
Tom, we're gonna let you drive fly a real jet. But I wonder how insulting it is if you tell a pilot, what's it like driving a jet? Are they like, get the fuck out of here? Right? I'm a pilot, you son of a bitch. I fly a jet. I don't drive it. Get out of here.
Next podcast, get a pilot on, and you can ask him how
if someone knows an actual pilot, let me get him
how
on
to gaslight a pilot.
Let me ask him if he finds it insulting if I were to go. So what's it like driving a plane all all the time? All I would not want to insult anyone like that. But all right, one more upcoming attractions hype, and then we're gonna switch gears to some funky stuff going down.
Okay.
Carl Urban, your guy, right, Chris? Carl Urban from The
Love Carl
Boys,
Urban.
Judge Dredd, is gonna be Johnny Cage for Mortal Kombat, whatever the next thing coming out is.
Okay.
Does this make any sense?
Cage? Okay. You don't look at Carl Urban. No offense, Carl Urban, great looking guy, but you don't look at him and go, "Hey, this is the typical Hollywood like hotshot guy." You know, like Carl Urban, very underrated too, though, in a lot of things, and does a solid job in everything he does. So it's going to be a good performance. It's just maybe they couldn't get the guy they wanted. They couldn't get Keanu Reeves in his prime, maybe to beat Johnny Cage.
I don't know. Maybe
who is he based on?
I don't know. I feel like they're
Van
probably
Damme?
gonna. Yeah,
he did the splits punch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The original 100%. The original Mortal Kombat character. I've listened to a lot of podcasts talking about the development of that original game. Oh yeah, it was for sure supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. But you cannot get Jean-Claude Van Damme now.
Yeah.
And not have this movie be a total disaster. So you want some star power. So it's I would not have went. I would rather gone to Pedro Pascal than Carl Urban. It's a really out of the blue. Like you said, he's a great performer. Let's do a quick check. Was he in Wonder Woman 84? He wasn't. So he doesn't have that on his record.
Yeah. So he's pretty good. Yet to be tarnished.
Yeah. So maybe he could do it. Maybe he can bring Mortal Kombat. That recent film. I know you were not a fan, Chriso. I didn't mind parts of it. I will never fire that thing up again.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I can't even rewatch it. It was so bad. I was so hyped for that after they did the Sub-Zero opening sequence, and I was like, oh man, this looks awesome. They had the great action guys in it, and then boom.
Yeah, just a disaster. Be quiet, Rob. You decided to bail today, so you can't talk crap about me listening to Mortal Kombat podcast. If you do, though, there is a hell of a journey that happened for that first game. They were calling people in. They had to bring their own clothes. I listened to an interview of the guy who played Liu Kang. He had to bring his own black pants and shoes to be Liu Kang, and he also had to be Shang Tsung. A couple other characters. It's a funny tale of what happened in there, and surprisingly enough, they kept a lot of those props. So we'll see what happens. But very surprising to see that Carl Urban is going to come back and try and save this Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, yikes!
They did a good switcheroo though when they played that first scene, and we were like, "Oh, this is going to be an amazing movie."
Yeah, amazingly dark action movie
to be complete trash. All right, so we're going to wrap it up with a couple stuck in limbo news stories.
You didn't like the main character having like a what is that? Like a really
armor club shirt?
Yeah, like armor jacket. That was the big reveal.
I love Louis
armor jacket. Like, come on.
I love Louis Tan, but that unfortunately they did not give him anything to work with. And that movie's just a disaster. Yeah, the shirt made no sense. The armored shirt is it's weird. It's a weird.
He should have just turned to Scorpion. I don't understand.
Yeah, give him a ninja outfit, maybe.
Yeah,
give him a fancy sword. Sword works, you know. They gave a sword to Mark Wahlberg in Transformers. They just didn't use it. So I don't know. Yeah. Scott says if Johnny Cage speaks with a butcher accent, that'll be entertaining. That people tune in for that. I don't know what Carl Urban's natural hair color is. I know it's not that butcher jet black color, is it?
Jet black, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, you can't like if you have a bad TV, you don't even tell. It just looks like a crazy dark like spot on your screen, like really dark. Like half.
Like, did I forget to color this guy's head? What's going on? Like his beard is just like dark.
You need to turn your brightness up to see what he actually looks like. Yeah,
face or something like that. Yeah, everyone's like he should have played Kano with the accent. He could have done the butcher accent and done Mortal Kombat. Yeah. But you had Kano in this Mortal Kombat reboot.
Kano,
they hurt that character, so now they need to bring in
that movie. Yeah, he was decent, and you knew he was going to betray everybody, but he was decent, and he was a decent part of that movie. Couldn't save it, but he was decent.
Yeah, one of the few parts of that movie. All right, so let's go to some stuck in limbo news, Chriso. So let's go. New Blade movie is on hold due to the writers' strike. And Rob had mentioned to me this Mahershala Ali guy is getting older. Older by the day because they keep pushing this movie back, and we keep hearing all kinds of things getting switched around on it. People leaving, joining, like all kinds of stuff. Like, do you think this is going to happen? Do you think this is going to end up on the cutting block?
I feel like they've done enough announcing and stuff that they're probably going to keep it on the slate. I had a question. Like we lived through we watched a lot of media consumed a lot of TV and media and movies and stuff during the previous writer's strike.
Yeah.
And I think it's a consensus that everything kind of was affected by it in a negative way. And it actually came out. Is it
a lot of shows turned out to be their absolute worst point?
Yeah. What was it? Friday Night Lights season 2.
Friday Night Lights comes to mind. Yes. A bunch of other shows like Scrubs and all that almost got ended.
Yeah.
Luckily,
so I guess the question is, do you prefer them just delaying it and you having to wait, or do you want them to put it out and just, maybe because we went through it previously, like the quality is going to be lower?
No, not a chance in hell. You cannot, like, I forgot which James Bond movie it was. If Rob's still in the chat, which James Bond movie happened during the writer's strike where Daniel Craig and the directors proceeded to try and write the end of it? I think it's the one right after Casino
Was it the one where he like it's like Home Alone at the end where he like booby traps a house? And the
no, that was actually decent, dude.
Someone wrote that. I read actual paid writer wrote that. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, I wish Rob was here. I'll take that, Rob. But yeah, there was the movie where it opens with the car chase and stuff, and they just started to. I think Daniel Craig and the director had to piece it together themselves. But yeah, they definitely should not continue. They should actually be on the lines there. I see some. I think the Ted Lasso, Jason Segura and the coach and Ted are on the picket lines to show their support and all that kind of stuff.
Ted Lasso. Oh yeah, okay.
Ted Lasso for Ted Lasso. Yeah. A lot of these actors. I know the girl played Wednesday got in a little hot water because she said she like did a lot of her own stuff, wrote a lot of. It was almost like Joey from Friends when he's like, oh, I write my own lines, and then
they're gonna kill Wednesday in the next season of Wednesday. Oh man.
Thanks, Rob.
Jenna Ortega, right?
Jenna Ortega, yeah. Quantum of Solace, that's the movie they pieced together. Very similar to Mission Impossible 2 almost.
So yeah, I guess to answer your question that you asked like 20 minutes ago, I think it's probably better to wait, and also I think the Blade's gonna stay on there. There's enough hype around it that they'll keep it on the slate. It's just Mahershala Ali. Shout out to him. He actually played college ball at a pretty high level. I was waiting for a basketball movie for him to be in, and I wanted because he would actually.
Did you want him in
look good playing basketball? Yeah. Anyways, he's Blade is it's a good character. Like, he doesn't matter. You can't out age, I guess, the role of Blade. I think age out of the role of Blade. So I think
you could write it for an older audience, or I think they're gonna go the horror route because there was talks about whoever from True Detective helming the storyline. But yeah, you could. If he drops out of the project because of time and scheduling, then I'm okay with it.
They'll just get Idris Elba. It's fine. He's everything else.
I like the kid from Snowfall, Damon Idris or whatever his name is. He's really good. He's really talented, and he's only like 30. So yeah, you can start there, and then as the movie is delayed another 5 years, he'll be in his 40s and be able to do it. So be able to do 10 more damn Blade movies, which. Man, they should have given him some more respect. Blade kicked it off, did it not? Wesley Snipes, we went to see that in the theaters when it first came out.
Club scene where he throws the thing and it goes around, he catches it, and all the blood everywhere. That was awesome scene. Iconic. You're right. Kind of started it off. So like they kind of disrespecting Blade here for a second. All right, let me cut to a couple more. I don't know if you're gonna have much to say on this. But that Yellowstone show, this was for Rob because I know he watches Yellowstone. All kinds of issues with Kevin Costner and closing out that season. But they're proceeding to go ahead with this, I guess, this sequel series that potentially stars Matthew McConaughey. I love me some Matthew McConaughey. He's really good, solid performer. We're talking about a lot of solid performers today. Also, mostly all white guys. So we're gonna have to, add some other people to the mix. But do you care? Have you tried? Like, I'm typically we love I'm typically a Tyler Sheridan guy. Like, I watch a lot of his stuff. Yeah. Mayor Kingstown, great show. He did that movie with the Hawkeye, and I completely forgot. Wind River, I think it was called.
I heard that's good.
Yeah, kind of a. And then he did that one with Angelina Jolie in a fire station park or something like that. That was okay, but Tyler Sheridan usually pretty good, and his shows are good. So I tried to watch the first episode. I couldn't really get into it, but I do plan on revisiting and then trying to get through it, or not trying to get to it, but getting to it and watching it because I hear it's good.
I tried it like 3 or 4 different times, and I can't get into it for some reason. I don't know what it is. I really want to like it because Mayor of Kingstown is amazing. But for some reason, something about Yellowstone. Maybe I'll watch this sequel series with McConaughey because
wasn't there a prequel too with Harrison Ford? Isn't that a thing? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's like a whole franchise thing. So
it's like a whole bunch of
spin-off everywhere. Like there's those Chicago Med, Chicago Hospital, like FBI, Chicago, and all this stuff. Just spin it off. Keep going.
Yeah. Scott shouts out John David Washington from as Blade from Tenet. Yeah, I feel like he got really sidetracked. Tenet came out during the pandemic. I guess it didn't do as well as they thought it would, but I thought he was really good in it.
Tenet. I thought Tenet was great. Yeah.
We'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how long this movie is going to get delayed, and if it does cause someone like that, because I feel like it takes a lot for you to drop out of a Marvel project, right? Because that's a good paycheck coming on the regular. So I feel like he's not going to drop out unless he absolutely has to, or just things start really, really hitting the fan.
Yeah, well, he's more of a serious actor and things like that. So I mean, he was in that Luke Cage show, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So
he was the best part of that Luke Cage. He was Cottonmouth, right?
Yeah. But they did the old switcheroo, changing the killing off who you think is going to be the bad guy. It turns out to be
worst move ever. He was the best part of that show. He was such a good villain.
I agree.
You kill him, and then you get like spoilers for that. I don't know how old that show is now. 10 years? 5 years? Whatever. What's 5 years?
Came out in the 90s.
Yeah. No one's going to watch it anyways. I think it is available on Disney Plus. So good luck with that. All right, and we're going to close out the news with one last bomb, Chris.
I'm sure Rob is loving this news segment.
Yeah. He's like,
we're butchering his segment. Sorry, Rob.
You guys didn't talk about this. Y'all didn't talk about this merger, this acquisition, whatever. But I'm going to close it with a bomb, though, Chris. So a new report claims that Amber Heard has left Hollywood behind. And has retired or moved over to Spain with her daughter. Can Hollywood recover from this loss?
I don't get my Mira spin-off movie. No, like, come on. I'm sure Johnny Depp stands are rejoicing. Well deserved to them. Damn.
I don't know if anyone can put her in a movie at any point.
I thought she would start to do direct to Netflix stuff, maybe,
Yeah.
But I guess she's just toxic right now, and no one wants to go near her. So good to step away.
Yeah. Step away, and I think I think or someone close to her. I guess they couldn't reach her for comment. But they were like, she'll come back when the time's right. I'm like, she's gonna be waiting longer than Masha.
We killed this segment way before John mentioned that, Rob, by the way.
Yeah, Rob. I just put that last little stake in its heart. But yeah, shout out. I hope she has moved on and is done whatever healing they need to do, and both parties can move on from whatever that debacle was. I look forward to the TV movie when they put it together for that whole thing that went down. Yeah, I might have to move to Spain too. Apparently she's fluent in Spanish, but anyways, so we'll see what happens. I feel like it's not as bad as the climate. I feel like it's not as bad as it was when that trial was going on, that they could put whatever scenes they did film for Aquaman back in now when that movie falls. And they might be okay, but
yeah. I mean, I unfortunately, or I was one of the few maybe who didn't really follow the trial. And if I saw her in Aquaman and maybe the same kind of role she had in the first one, I guess I would just focus on how bad her acting is, not what she was doing outside of it.
What a horrible person she is allegedly in real life. But yeah. We'll see how that goes. All right, thanks everybody for sticking with us for that shoddily put together news. We welcome Rob coming back maybe next week or whatever the hell he's free again.
Yeah, back to normalcy next week, guys. So don't worry.
That's what happens when you put me in charge of the news. But anyways, let's kick it off into our movie that we're going to talk about today before we run out of time here. So I got Chris to watch this movie last minute because Rob did bail on me last minute.
I was watching while I was making dinner, and I really absorbed all the information I need for this segment.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, look at Rob's done busting our chops for now. So we'll see how it goes. Peace out, Mr. Rob.
Safe drive home, Rob.
Have a good practice. So I can't make out what these GIFs are.
That means they're loving it, John. They're loving
all right, cool. All right, you guys are cool. Thank you for your time. We'll see. I was like, oh yeah, that was not a good one. Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about Edge of Tomorrow, aka whatever you want to call it, starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. I did not grab a nice, cool summary like Rob normally does, but this movie did release in 2014, directed by Doug Liman of Bourne Identity fame. And I think he is the showrunner for that Recruit show, starring Noah Centineo and stuff like that. So he's around. He does a lot of projects. And it is
American Made, which was another Tom Cruise movie.
Oh yeah. So also he has worked. And then another Tom Cruise collaborator, Chris, what's his name?
Christopher McQuarrie.
Christopher McQuarrie co-wrote the screenplay. So he seems to be a really good collaborator with Tom Cruise, releasing some amazing Mission Impossible movies and Top Gun, Maverick. So it seems like what do you call it, peanut butter and jelly or whatever you call it.
Who knew he would become like a de facto? I don't know what he did before this, but who knew he would become the de facto like action director? Because those are some good movies. Mission Impossible is consistently good. Top Gun, Maverick, according to John, the best movie ever made. So
yes, it is. It is. I have to redo my top 5 at some point. I feel like it's up there.
I like Top Gun Maverick. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Top Gun. We'll have to play foot. Are we going to play offensive and defensive football one day, Chris?
Offense, defense at the same time. That's the key to flying in a possible.
If you have figured out the rule set, we should definitely give it a whirl. So the budget of 178 million, box office final take 370 million. So considered a success. Although I think it did have marketing issues. It originally was titled All You Need Is Kill. The director didn't like it. They switched it to Edge of Tomorrow. Or someone wanted to call it Live, Die, Repeat. Again, sorry, Rob's not here, so we're not going to get the facts this time, folks. But they
don't fact check us, people.
Don't fact check any of this stuff. Or actually fact check everything. Live, Die, Repeat was a going title at one point, and then that turned into the tagline. And then I believe at one point it got named Edge of Tomorrow: Live, Die, Repeat. So we were talking last.
I believe that was for foreign markets, just because I think Edge of Tomorrow wasn't.
I think it was
translated. It wasn't good enough. Yeah.
So it does. It's really cool. I actually, out of the titles, do you like any of them, Chris? I quite like Live, Die, Repeat, even though I feel like Edge of Tomorrow is a really good title for this movie.
Yeah, I think what they landed on for us was great. Live, Die, not Live, Die, Repeat. Edge of Tomorrow, I thought was a good title.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about that movie, folks. So if you guys have got your thoughts on it, I'll jump to this comment quickly first. Scott mentions Bill Paxton.
I was going to mention it. Yes.
He's the sergeant right off the bat. And when I forgot he was in this movie, he shows up and I'm like, oh, is that Bill Paxton? He is great in this movie.
That opening sequence, I think it's a Southern drawl he's doing.
Yeah.
Just the long monologues of his life story he's going through, like going around the house to get to I don't know what the saying is, but going all the way around the block to get to your house next door. So all his speeches, I loved.
Yeah. And he seems to do it a lot. Like when you see him do parts, he kind of seems to have some type of long thing along those lines. So I wonder if he comes up with a lot of himself or he's just really good at delivering it. So rest in peace, Bill Paxton. It's a really shame that we're not going to see him kind of pop up in upcoming movies and stuff like that. And what a great movie for him to appear in this kind of sci-fi thing. I mentioned with Rob last week that I feel like we don't do a ton of these types of movies, sci-fi kind of funky movies. But like let's get into it. So Edge of Tomorrow, I didn't watch it in theaters. I don't know why. I think I wasn't watching many things in theaters. I was recommended it by a friend, and I think I got the Blu-ray, watched it, really enjoyed it. And at the point I saw it, I wasn't as big a Tom Cruise fanboy as I am now, but I still liked it.
Yeah.
The concept, the way everything starts to fall in line, and you're kind of rooting for him to figure the day out.
Yeah, this was in like a streak of really good Tom Cruise movies. I was looking at the filmography earlier. I think it was Jack Reacher, Oblivion. I don't know if you talked about it on
Oblivion,
which I really liked, and then this movie, and it was like this trifecta of like really, really good Tom Cruise. I thought good Tom Cruise movies at the time. I really like this movie. One thing about me and John is we're we're really big suckers for time loop movies or Groundhog Day like movies. Me and John. Shout out to Daybreak, which was a movie.
I was gonna bring that up.
A TV show with Taye Diggs that me and John loved, but we were the only ones who loved it because it got canceled after one season. But we love this premise. I even watched like those Happy Death Day movies. Just because I love this premise of just repeating the same day over and over, this Groundhog style, and then they adapted it, I guess, for this sci-fi action flick with Tom Cruise, and it's just, for me, it was a winning formula, and I really enjoyed this movie, top to bottom, kind of. We'll talk about the ending. You know, we both agree the ending kind of trails off, but I thought the premise and how they execute it was very well done, in my opinion.
So before we get into it, I think we both overall enjoyed our rewatch of this movie, and it looks like a lot of people in the comments did put this movie amongst their favorites. Because last week when we kind of mentioned it for a second, everyone kind of jumped in and was like, "Yo, when are we going to do Edge of Tomorrow?" So me and Rob were like, "Oh, let's do it then." So I think everyone generally likes this movie, so I think it is worth your time to rewatch. I do like that I own it on Blu-ray. It is on Netflix right now, so if you haven't watched it and you're just tuning in for the fun of it, you can watch it right now on Netflix. I feel like everyone still has at least a Netflix regular subscription right now. We'll see what happens in the future.
No more sharing.
Yeah, too many services. Yeah, they start cracking down on the sharing thing. But yeah, I do like owning this, and I think I will one day go back and rewatch it. Chris, would you own this, or would you only rewatch it again if it pops up on TV?
I've rewatched it a couple times, I think. I think I would definitely own it. Yeah, if I had a thing, I guess I have a PlayStation, so I could play Blu-rays and things like that. If I was one of those people who would own hard copies of things, I would definitely have this in my collection. I think it's a good rewatch. I find.
I think it's a solid rewatch. And then let's talk a little bit about so spoiler alert, folks, if you haven't watched it, go check it out.
Me and Scott the same person, because I'm agreeing with essentially everything he's saying.
No, I think Scott's right on the money here. I think and I think if you listen to some of the people involved in the movie or the directors talk about what else they had possibly planned for the movie, different endings, alternate things that happened. Towards the end of the movie, you do kind of start to go, all right, fix it. Let's get it rolling. Yeah. So like Scott says here in his comment, he says, good rewatch, and a little meh. So I do like that they went for the happy ending, Chris. I don't know if you would have preferred maybe the tragic, sad ending, because to get to the ending that we see, the original way to get there, everyone basically dies.
It does take away. Dark. It does take away from the impact of those, getting to know these characters and then kind of having them sacrifice, but that, for the greater good. And then they kind of, it was all a dream, and that dream it thing at the end, kind of, to kind of fix everything at the end. But I thought I liked the stuff building up to it. Again, the ending, okay. The action sequences were so. Especially at the end, is kind of dark and just like weird.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Like when they're in the water and everything's flying around and debris everywhere, you can't tell 100% what's going on all the time. Yeah, unless you have a really crispy TV. I don't have an issue with the happy ending part. I just have an issue with kind of like it does kind of start to overstay its welcome, and you're just like, come on, okay, wrap it up, guys. If you listen to the commentaries and stuff, they're like, oh, we were originally going to do this other thing, and you're like, it would have extended the movie an additional time length, right?
I like when they kind of stopped showing every death he had, and he was kind of like they did this kind of thing where he would enter the room and you think it's the first time, but it's really like his 18th time, so he's kind of like
how many fingers?
I like that, like, especially when he goes to visit the I guess he's the colonel at the end, not the end, but the midpoint, the colonel, to get the thing, and he's just like, we don't see the first sequence of him. We see like the last sequence where he gets the whammy thing,
whatever that thing is, the thing with all the needles in
the convenient thing that does everything you need in one little thing.
The plot device that requires them to move to the next stage. You're kind of like, oh, but when he wakes up and they've taken his blood and all that stuff, you're like, oh man, no, because they have established beforehand.
One more life. That's it.
This is the end. That's it. So, but I will throw out that I really like. I'll throw out some love towards Tom Cruise again, as usual. The character he plays off the bat, he's a scumbag, right? He's like trying to get out of it, weasels his way out, and try all these kind of things, and he's kind of like an unlikable character, and I feel like not only Tom Cruise, but few stars as big as Tom Cruise, if not, who's bigger than Tom Cruise? Nobody, right? As big as Tom Cruise. Like there's nobody on this planet. Sorry, all the wonderful people we mentioned before. You guys started Wonder Woman 84, so you're not going to be able to achieve Tom Cruise level. But they wouldn't do that. They would like, well, I want to be the hero. I'm not going to be the. And then,
the perfect example is I think Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, he would never come off that weak in a movie. I think he would just, his ego wouldn't let him do that, because like you said, he's a scumbag at the beginning. He's like a kind of like a talking head of just like boasting, oh, we have this stuff where this stuff is awesome, the war's being won, we're awesome, everything's great, join the army, we have these great suits that do everything when people are like dying left and right, things like that. He's kind of it's just spinning everything, and you're kind of like, oh, this guy's kind of a, like you said, scumbag, and also he sucks at fighting. Like usually Tom Cruise is like a superhero, and he can do everything. Like he can jump off buildings and jump on planes and hang off skyscrapers, things like that. But he sucks, and he has to learn. And you see him like running,
he rolls into the truck and dies. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. He tries to roll out of the truck and gets smushed. And the best part of that,
is there a worse death? Do you recall any particular death that you think was like the worst way for him to go out?
I think that's probably the worst one. You're not even in the action sequence. You're like just trying
to
get
even
out
there
of
yet,
like
and you just
the push-ups, and you get murdered by a truck that's just driving by before the war even starts. Yeah,
I do like the sequence where Emily Blunt is basically just blasting him in the head every time, and then one time he's like, "No, I'm okay. It's just my ankle."
My leg's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, and then just shoots him. The first sequence where she just takes his battery, that's cold blooded.
Oh,
just walks off.
That was
like,
a cool.
That was
actually a cool moment, because he saves her, and she just looks at him, and is like, "Oh, you're done, dude." Grabs his pack, grabs his reload and stuff like that. It's a cool scene. But when he first dies and that acid falls on him or whatever, and you see Tom Cruise's face get like melted away, you're like, this is pretty crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, what was that, dude?
He's like, why would you do that?
He pushed us, bro. Like, come on. And now we're becoming roadkill for. Come on.
It's a great, and they didn't even have to show it. They didn't have to show like a mangled Tom Cruise on the floor.
Just made the squishy noise. Yeah.
It was good enough. All right. Any supporting cast other than, we've already talked about Bill Paxton. He's great. Anybody support? Emily Blunt, I feel like she's co-starring, right? She's
we should spend some time talking about her, but
I think she's really good.
Oh, so we're talking about Emily Blunt. Okay, yeah.
Let's go with that first, and then we'll talk about anybody else that you thought was great in supporting.
This was a great foray into, I guess, action movies. Like, she didn't really do like have her filmography here. She does Devil Wears Prada. That's all what we know her from, and then she does like a bunch of just, I guess, random stuff that's not really like action based. And this is, I think, her first action thing she does, and then she goes on to do like Quiet Place and things like that. So I thought she was very impressive. I guess somewhat believable as an action star. I don't think she could have swung that sword, in any kind of way with how skinny she is. But
the suit was supposed to augment their power. Right?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So I guess
you're right.
You have to give some of that to the suit. But yeah, she is kind of skinny at points. But I think I remember hearing the old press tour that she didn't get shape until like some point during the movie. She was training hard for the movie. Yeah. But then I think the suits alone weighed like 35 plus pounds and stuff. Yeah. And they actually had to be suspended from chains to take the weight off them, which I wonder if there's some behind the scenes photos of it. But you can definitely tell there's a point where she gets in really good shape. You can really see like all the definition in her arms and stuff like that. So as an action star, you can't, like, it's a good look for her. Like, she got some really iconic scenes. Poses, the whole Full Metal bitch poster, iconography. And the metal suit. I think there's a whole bunch of companies
doing yoga in the middle of the I guess the training robots, the danger room. I guess we can call it for comic guys. The thing is, like, she didn't really do any, like, unless you count Quiet Place as like a major action thing. She didn't really do any big bunch of action movies after this, and there's that whole story about how they wanted her as Black Widow, and it just kind of makes you think like it would have been nice to have her, but I'm not the biggest Scarlett Johansson fan.
What? ScarJo was the best in that role.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think maybe you're thinking of her stunt double that does everything for her. But I kind of makes me think, yeah, we could have had Emily Blunt as Black Widow in all these Marvel movies. It would be kind of cool. But she didn't really do any action stuff now. I don't know if there's time for her now to do it. Maybe she won't go back to it. I don't think so. She
was in that new Mary, the Mary
Oscar
Poppins
movies, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's doing around. The singing, dancing, acting kind of thing. Maybe.
I think she's multi-talented. So having this on her resume, I think is great. Scott mentions the romance part. I think they did just enough of it, and maybe
it kind of gave it kind of gave Tom Cruise's character's motivations, like why he's kind of hesitating and not just.
Well, I like how she's just like, I'm just a soldier. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm here to kill this thing. That's my mission. That's it. So I think there's only one point where she kind of breaks that, and kind of like she lets the romance in, but it's mostly Tom Cruise just going, I'm tired of watching you die and all this stuff. So Sue Storm, yeah. Steve's saying maybe Sue Storm, that could have worked.
Well, obviously I think we all saw Doctor Strange 2, or was it 2 or 3? I don't know, 2, where Reed Richards was played by her famous husband Jim Halpert from The Office. I think what's his name again? John
Krasinski.
So they wanted John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, real life husband and wife, to play Sue Storm and Reed Richards.
She's got another great movie under her belt. Thanks, John. Sicario, and she's amazing in Sicario. That's just
not really movie. Doing much action.
She does get to be a badass, but she kind of gets kind of beat down by I think Benicio's character, right?
Whoops her
it's
ass.
Kind of like, you don't know where you are, you don't know this world, right? Type thing. But she does get to be a badass, and that is a great movie.
And then Jungle Cruise, she does the Disney style action, kicking over crates and
Jungle Cruise,
swinging on ropes and things like that.
I did not like. I know you're a rock fan. Did you like it at all?
Jungle Cruise. It was kind of. You remember the movie The Mummy with Brendan Fraser?
Yeah.
It was like the exact same movie as The Mummy, just I guess on the ocean instead, or in a jungle river, whatever.
I think it's Jungle Cruise.
So it wasn't anything groundbreaking, but I thought it was enjoyable. I would probably not revisit or watch it again, but I thought it was decently enjoyable. Is that
go on the ride at Disney instead before rewatching that movie. I wasn't a huge fan of that movie. I tried. It was too kiddish for me, I think.
Save those for when you watch stuff with your daughters. Not when you're by yourself. I
have to upgrade from the animated movies to some live action fun stuff. But all right, anyone else in the cast that kind of stood out for you? I feel like there wasn't a ton of other players that got to do anything other than die either immediately or get circumvented by Tom Cruise's whole quest to get things done.
I guess the Colonel had some good scenes. I'm sorry, I'm not good at military ranks. I think he was the Colonel, the guy in charge. The main guy with the Scottish accent, maybe an Irish. I don't know. So I'm not good with accents either. That guy, I thought, the way he casually is like, he gets tried. Tom Cruise kind of blackmails him, and then he just casually is just like, okay, yeah, sure.
And he's like, arrest this man.
Yeah, arrest this guy. By the way, I'm going to send him to his death. Yeah, the way he kind of casually does that, I thought was a pretty good scene at the beginning, especially. But Bill Paxton stole that beginning sequence pretty.
But I think Bill Paxton is the only other person really in contention of stealing camera time from Cruise and Blunt. Some people mentioned some of the ragtag of I think it's J6 or whatever the hell that squad's name. Some of those guys are pretty.
They were really that funny. Memorable, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember all of a sudden there's a random Asian member who dies at the end. I'm like, where was this guy earlier?
They added him.
I think he's like firing the guns and then he just dies. I'm like, where was this guy the whole show? So sucks that. Everyone likes
the guy who says there's something wrong with that guy's suit. There's a dead guy in it. That guy had a lot of play. That guy, I think he had more lines than anyone else in that group.
I wonder if he got to do that line a different way every time, or they would just did it once and then they're like, oh wait, we got it. We're gonna cut to you. We don't and then move on. Or you got to deliver that line like freaking 6 or 8 times. I don't know however many times, but Fraser and everybody seems to like the fat guy who gets crushed, the naked guy.
Oh, he fights. What's it? Balls out? Yeah. Literally.
I don't know if there's anyone else really worth mentioning. And like you said, the alien creatures, like you can kind of barely see what's going on. With them.
Did you like that design? Do you think it would have been better?
If you see the anime design, it actually looks really goofy. So it is a better design. But I would choose, that newer movie with here comes Chris Pratt again. But that movie that he did where there's those aliens that
Tomorrow War.
Yeah, Tomorrow War, where it shoots those spikes and stuff. I think that was a pretty cool design. These ones they're there. You can't really see what's going on.
Just kind of like this octopus kind of flowy thing that
you can't really tell. It just looks like a black shadow, basically. So I would have preferred something a little more tangible, as Starship Troopers or Tomorrow War. But
did you like the design of the suits, the mech suits?
Yeah, the suits I actually kind of they grew on me. It looks like it doesn't look as impressive because from the top part it's kind of light, right?
Yeah,
you see these big chunky legs. So as like anime or whatever fan, you want to see like chunky. You want to see big shoulders, like a big suit would have been kind of cool. Yeah. But as a kind of exosuit, I think there were real suits of some kind, if I'm not mistaken. But
I guess a little more practical over design, practicality over design in this case. I mean, you do have Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. You do want to show off.
Yeah, you want to show them off.
Faces
and he loses the helmet pretty quick. And if it is a practical reason as well, because imagine if they had to do like an Iron Man thing where they had to put a whole shell.
I don't think Tom Cruise would agree to that. Like he's like,
well, it would have been a pain in the ass.
You to see the moneymaker,
it would have not looked good, maybe. So them choosing that route, I think, is fine. So I'm 100% down for this show. Is this your favorite time loop movie? We talked a little bit about time loop movies. I'm sure we're going to mention Groundhog Day. Is Groundhog Day more fun? You guys in the comments, let us know. Would you rather watch Groundhog Day? They have that Andy Samberg movie. I forgot what it's called. Palm
Springs. I thought was probably the best comedy one I've seen.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about Daybreak. I haven't watched it in some time, but I remember it was hella fun.
Dude, we love that show. We like all time loops and like stuff like Quantum Leap. We love that kind of stuff. I don't know why.
It's not Looper. Yeah. Looper is definitely not on the top of this list.
Looper was more like, oh, look, he's playing Bruce Willis as a young guy. He's doing a really good young Bruce Willis impression. The movie itself, so in my opinion, but
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like Scrooge might be a little more fun because you have Bill Murray, genius. Not Scrooge. Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. Come on.
Yeah, Scrooge is a good, solid movie too as well. But Groundhog Day is a ton of fun.
There was one I even enjoyed that came out during the pandemic. It had Frank Grillo, and it was called like Game Boss or Boss Level, I think.
Boss Fight. Boss Fight.
Yeah. I like that one too.
It's very like we're used to like you guys in the comments, like we're used to playing the video game where you hit the reset button or you get to respawn. So this was a very familiar or easy to take concept for this movie. So it worked really well. Yeah, Scott says Groundhog Day 100%.
Yeah, Groundhog Day is like
Looper. Yeah, you're right. Jonathan, I don't remember anything about Looper at all other than it was trash. So yeah, if it was not a time loop movie, I apologize.
I remember the shotgun being cool, like the way he utilized some sort of shotgun.
Yeah.
And then Emily Blunt was also in that movie, by the way. Looper.
How many people we have tied together in this episode? That's crazy. Lewis says that movie was called Boss Level. I'll have to check that out. Jonathan, mentions a random episode of Stargate 1. Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of TV shows have done this time loop formula. Like I think I've seen it in like episodes of like The Blacklist and things like that, where just a character starts to relive the day over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's chalked up to some
an episode of that Aquafina show did it too.
Nora from Queens,
like that, which is totally random too. But man, me and John are a sucker for these. So if you have any ones that you know of, just suggest them, and we'll probably go out and watch them because we love this kind of stuff. We love the time loop premise.
Time loop, time travel. Yeah, Steve, I think I didn't get to read all the manga. He mentions that the suits look like Bubblegum Crisis suits in the manga. I have to get back to it. I just remember the design for the mimics was a little goofy looking. They almost look like Pokemon or something like that. Yeah. But it's an older Japanese manga, so I guess it could have been scary. But yeah, I'm sure, Lewis. I'm sure. How come you don't have any Star? I'm sure this happened in Star Trek, a time loop episode. But
anyway, just give him a second. He'll give us the exact episode.
Give us the exact name. Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher, I believe. Right? Scott's mentioning. I don't remember that movie at all.
That's one probably we skipped. But if it's a time loop movie, I'll probably check it out.
I remember being a big deal at the time, but we'll have to see. Would a movie like Memento count? Because he kind of like his memory resets every day. I don't know.
Memento, 50 First Dates.
Oh, 50
stuff
First
like
Dates.
that. Remember that? Yeah, stuff like that.
That's a good movie. I don't think Lake
Lake
House counts. I think that's a time travel movie.
Well, that's just a great movie, Lake House.
Yeah,
sending letters through time. That's awesome.
I forgot what show or movie used this reference recently. It was really funny. Here, look, see, Lewis got it. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Cause and
effect. It took him a second. I knew he would get it. Yeah.
There we go, Lewis. Thank you. But anyways, folks, we've been keeping you too late. Any last thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow, Chriso? Is it in your top 5 Tom Cruise movies?
Top 5. Oh man, that's a tough.
He's got so many bangers, right?
Yeah. He's royalty now. He's got so many good movies. You know, a couple misses here and there, but most of the stuff is pretty damn good. So I would find it hard for it to crack top 5.
Yeah.
But I like this movie. It's a solid rewatch. Like I said before, I like the build up to where, you know, the whole the tough thing with these types of time loop movies is building up to the point where he realizes it's a time loop. I think it's about 30 minutes in this one, so you know you got some time there to figure it out. But I like the pacing of the beginning part up until I guess maybe the third act, and then good to go.
Yeah, it's more of like the lead up, and then you get a pretty good payoff in this movie. So it's maybe it overstates its welcome just a teeny bit. So I think it's only an hour and 11 or 10 minutes.
I do like that last sequence, as much as we shit on the ending. I do like that last sequence where he walks up to her and she's like, "Do I have something on my face?" And he just kind of smirks at her, and then they cut to the credits with a pretty decent. I feel like a appropriate song choice. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah, you got. No, I don't have an issue with the ending itself. I think we're just at that point of the movie, we're tired and we're like, okay, we're ready to see the result, type thing. So they maybe had to cut a few things out. Yeah, Rob says it's in his top 5 Cruise for sure. Wow, I'm surprised. There's so many choices, and these Mission Impossible movies are going to occupy most of the 5. Yeah, unless you only choose.
I'm a big Mission Impossible. I know Rob's a big 007 guy, but I'm a big Mission Impossible guy. So after the third one, so fourth one on, are probably all in my top 5.
Yeah. We'll see. Eric mentions the Meg 2 trailer just came out. That's a Jason Statham shark movie.
Meg 2, yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I'll check it out, Eric. If you said it looks insane, it must be pretty crazy.
Is Jason Statham in the second one too?
I don't know. I don't know if he died in the first one. I didn't watch the first one, so
I watched the first one, I think, on a plane at some point, and I was like, "This movie is hilarious," because it's just like they don't care. They're like, "We know this is ridiculous. We're just leaning right into it," and I thought it was decent.
That is the best kind of movie, and Jason Statham looks like that's his jam. The Transporter, The Meg, Crank. Those are at least 3 movies off the top of my head that are.
He's
just
in every Fast and the Furious now, so that too.
That are just movies like these shouldn't be good. They're probably not good, but whoever worked on it with him made it good. So Jonathan Yo says it's got giant octopus, so we're gonna have to check it out. So yeah, we'll talk, folks. Hopefully Rob will be back next week, and I'll have Chris on again very soon.
For the sake of the news segment, he'll be back.
Yeah. The news segment may or may not be back. But yeah, we'll.
Look, Rob found a loophole. This is his loophole to fit it into the top 5. He doesn't consider them Cruise repertoire.
Yeah. So in his top 5 Cruise movies, Rob, all right, we're gonna have to do this. Chris, you're gonna have to come back and do this. We're all gonna have to do this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to whittle down my movies to top 5 Tom Cruises. We'll see. But
it's just gonna be Top Gun Maverick at home, Top Gun Maverick in the theater, Top Gun Maverick on a plane.
Top Gun Maverick in 4K.
In a plane? Come on.
In 4K, folks. But
see you, John. I guess I'll sign off for him. Thanks everybody for watching. Check us out next week. Like and subscribe. This is really weird. Thanks, guys.
Sorry, Chris.
Oh, you're back? Oh, I did the sign off. Okay, anyways.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're going to sign off. I got the stupid mouse button. I did it again. You know, you have little buttons on the side. One of them goes back. I hit it, but left Chris there all alone. First time doing that. But anyways, thank you, Chris, for jumping in. Rob, thanks for letting me give me that no notice that you weren't going to be here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Mission Mondays coming up in June. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we're going to watch Mission Impossible with Henry Cavill. And then next week and the week after that, I don't know what's going on. Thanks, Izzy. But we will talk to you guys later.
Mission Impossible, where he does the
yeah. He does the gun reloads. Yeah,
come on, that's the best part of the whole movie.
That is pretty killer. It's hard to top that. There's no James Bond equivalent. But anyways, talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Horse gun.